Hi, it's Tess, and today's tip is 470, and I'm looking at a book. This was recommended in one of the coachings that I've been involved in, and it's by a Dan Sullivan, and the book is called The Gap and the Gain. And I thought it was really important, and I really liked what I was reading in it today, so I thought I would share. And it kind of talks about, in a lot of things I've been working on, like working on my book, talking about being unique, finding that place where you belong. When we stop comparing ourselves to other people, when we stop looking to other people for approval, recognizing that we all have a different journey, we all have a different path, we all have different experiences that bring different things to the table. So that idea of comparing yourself to another person is very harmful because your journey could look very, very different. And if you're following a path, and hello, whoever's on with me, I appreciate you being here. If you follow other people's paths, you miss the whole opportunity of being in touch with your inner guidance, with your meditation, your conversations with God, universe, source. If you don't slow down and connect with yourself, you miss opportunities. Hi, Mary Doe. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And I thought it was really interesting, this book, The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan. What I loved about this book is that he kind of explained it in a different way. We all come to the table with unique gifts. We all know we shouldn't compare, but yet we still do. Does this person have a better car? Is this person smarter? Is this person thinner? Is this person have more money? We're always comparing, and we shouldn't, because we all come from different places and our journey should look different. Hi, Upendra. Good to see you. And hello, whoever else is on. I just don't see the names, but thank you for being here. And I thought this idea of not comparing, we always, or I know most people in my life have tended to do that. I've tried to break that. Even as a kid, I didn't want to be unique. I wanted to be part of the crowd, and I was always the unique one, the out of the box one that just didn't fit in. And now as an adult, I'm looking at it differently. And even in my weight loss journey, I'm looking at it differently. And this guy, this Dan Sullivan in this book, The Gap and the Gain, he explained it beautifully because he talked about like, we need to appreciate. We need to appreciate what we have and allow that good feeling to push us into other things that will direct us where our path is. And he kind of explained that, like he had, one of his children wanted to play with spoons, and he took out every spoon they had, which was like 6 of these wooden spoons, and he gave them to the child who asked for them. And the child's running around the house while the sibling gets wind of it and grabs one of the spoons. And so he said, instead of enjoying the 5 spoons that child had, that child lived in the gap instead of the gain. And by that he meant the gain was this child had 5 wooden spoons. The gap was one of those spoons was gone. So instead of living in the gain, appreciating, having gratitude, not appreciate, and I thought it was so telling when he said it like that. I thought, what a beautiful way to explain it. But this child had 5 spoons and got frustrated, got upset, got angry, and just lived in the place focused on that one spoon they didn't have. They lived in the gap. And I thought, what a beautiful way to explain it. We have to stop living in the gap, look at where our gain is, and then take, as Dr. E always talks about, take that next shot to take us down the road and see where it's going to get us. Our journey's different, and too often we get stuck in the gap, that thing that we think we're missing, and we need to live in that place of appreciation, of gratitude, of feeling good, and allowing our natural path to unfold for us. I think many times we block our energy flow to move us forward by getting stuck in that gap. And I thought, what a beautiful way for him to talk about this, is the 6 spoons in his children. And he said, too often we get stuck in that gap. And I know I've been guilty of that too, because I think that what my journey is supposed to look like someone else's. And in school, I even was to a point where in one school, and in 4th grade, I went to 2 different schools, and ironically, my teachers were roommates in the 2 different schools I went to. But the first school I went to, I was the lowest in the grade of reading. I struggled with reading, and I used to get special help. I end up in the next school district, and I'm top of the class. And it's that appreciation in that gap. And what I found for myself is I never liked the attention. I did not like the attention when I had to be in the hall having special work, because that was a gap. and I didn't recognize the gain of getting my skills stronger. Then I go to the other one, and I didn't like being considered the best reader that they wanted me to read all the time because they pushed emphasis on reading in the other place. I didn't like being at the top of the class. I wanted to be in the middle. So I always strove to not be noticed. And I always tried, but again, a redhead, I was a natural redhead, that drew attention to me. I was always looking at where I thought I gapped instead of where I gained. And the thing that's really changed for me in this weight loss journey is accepting that my gifts are different than somebody else's and appreciating every step of the way. I appreciate learning that the chemicals in processed foods don't help my body. I've been able to lose weight during COVID because I stopped eating them. I appreciate learning that I didn't have to accept just what was thought that would be my weight loss during the time of my journey. I appreciate that I've learned that being in the gain and moving forward, not comparing to other people, is the best journey. Because without even realizing it, I put myself in the gap even when it wasn't beneficial to put myself in the gap. You know, I didn't want to be in the gap because I couldn't read, but then I didn't want to be in the gap because I was the one that read the best. I couldn't, and it was probably confusing because as a kid in 4th grade, that was confusing. How to go from one end to the other. But I never liked either place. I wanted to be in the middle. And I think that we have to find that place of appreciation and of growth. And you think about all the things like one of the books, I think this is the subtraction one that I was reading recently too. He was talking about how there are people that come like with, he was comparing like planes. We all know the Wright brothers are the ones that took the first plane off the ground. But he said, had they lived in that place of gap because they didn't have money, they were struggling with a bicycle business, they couldn't make it. If they had lived in that place of gap, he said, not too far from where they were at, there was another family that was wealthy, well-known. The news was following them around because they were supposed to accomplish this, get this plane off the ground. Well, in comparing that book to this book, if the Wright brothers had lived in the gap, that failure place, because look at, they've got the news following them, they've got money, they've got this, they've got that, those people might have been the ones that we were talking about today. And they said their name, and I apologize, I don't remember. But I'm like, so often in my life, I've chosen the gap, and I don't want to choose the gap anymore. I want to choose. And the thing about being in the gain area is that you can share with other people, and like Doc V and Chris and everybody talks about, you can reach your hand out for a hand up to the next person in line, but we don't have to find ourselves in the gap place and not moving forward. And it was such a great way to talk about it, because he even talked about another event. They went to Disney World. They're in this beautiful place. And again, it goes back to kids because that's an easy way to equate it. But they're in Disney World. They're in this great place. They had 2 kids' meals come. There was 1 cookie for 2 kids in the kids' meal. So what the mom did is she took the cookie and she broke it in half. And instead of appreciating the cookie, there was a comparison going on, a gap. This half is bigger than that one. We all know that stuff happens. We all do. And I know it's difficult to overcome it. And children are a perfect example because they will tell you about it. But it made me realize that even in my life, have I looked at the gap or have I looked at the gain? And I'm going to work really hard to always look at the gain, because the gap is just my difference, my different path that I'm going down, because my gain will come down the road when I hit the right path. I shouldn't compare to the person next to me right now because their journey is different. And at this point in time, they're going in that direction and I'm going in this direction. We have to live in the gain, in the appreciation, in the feeling good, in the abundance, not in the scarcity. And when you look at the gap, and that's really basically what this book is, the gap or the gain. The gap is scarcity thinking. The gain is abundance thinking. And I found in my life, when I think abundantly, when I think positively, when I'm appreciative, when I'm full of gratitude, I move forward in a better way. If I look at things like, I can't do this, it's not working for me, why don't they understand? I've dropped myself into a place of scarcity, of a place of gap, as he said in this book. So it's kind of interesting. All these theories come together in different ways and they label them different, but whatever way kind of speaks to you is something you can remember. You know, if I go outside and look at the flowers, am I going to see the beautiful, that I have 3 beautiful in bloom flowers? Or am I going to see a gap that there are 5 that have already bloomed and are no longer there? What is it that I want to focus on in my life? Too often I've seen pain in a lot of people, and in the past couple of years has had a lot of pain for a lot of people. We need to start looking at the gain. We need to start looking at the abundance. Leave the gap behind and leave the scarcity behind, and enjoy this day. And remember, your journey at this point where you think you might have a little bit of a gap, it's just telling you to take a different path or to take a different direction. And when you take that different path or that different direction, it leads to beautiful places. I truly, and just kind of a quick reminder, when I came into this journey of weight loss, I was a BMI of 60, and all I wanted was 10 years of my life back. I just wanted to be able to be active. I was tired of watching from the sidelines. And through opening myself up and letting myself experience life differently and looking at things differently and connecting to people that are helping me to see some gains instead of some gaps, I've surpassed everything anybody thought I would do. I'm still walking this journey, and there are so many things happening for me that I never even had the wildest dream could happen. So let's let go of the gap mentality, which is the scarcity mentality, and let's go for the gain, which is the abundance. Look for all the good things, appreciate all the good things, and let God know that you're so grateful for all those wonderful things that He continues to shower you with the beauty in this world, instead of the things that He thinks you're focusing on, which are the lack. Have a beautiful day. Well, hi, Shan. Good to see you. I appreciate you guys all more than you'll ever know. I hope you have a beautiful day. And I'll kind of sign off now because I know Doc V will be live in a couple of minutes. But remember, always look at the gain, appreciate the gain. Gap is just maybe an opportunity to change your path, and that's scarcity thinking. And we don't think scarcity. We think the best possible thing and appreciate all the beauty, all the wonderful opportunities in this life, and we make it the best life it is. So I hope you guys will join me in that, and let's all reach our hand back to help the next person up. Thank you, and have a great day.